Okay guys, so I was watching some YouTube videos and looking at some Facebook groups, some expediting Facebook groups, and video I was watching today, it's a newbie expediter, just started a YouTube channel as well, expediting down by the river. And one video that caught my eye, he was talking about getting sleep while on the road. That's the toughest thing that he's come across so far in doing this job. You know, getting sleep, it probably is one of the hardest things for people to adjust to, and that's got to do with the temperatures, the locations that you sleep, the times of the day or night that you're sleeping. Everything's just scrambled all over the place. I know I've touched on it before as far as how to manage your time. Basically, I think I was talking about that when I was talking about how to manage your sleep. He was asking at the end for advice or tips on how to deal. You know, first I want to touch on before I give my opinion on how to go about getting your sleep the best way that I've found for me. I want to touch on a few more other things first. He had talked about how he came out here to see the sights and kind of for the adventure of things, and that due to the sleep from being worn out, having to basically he feels as though he's got to be asleep all the time in order to be able to finish the loads that he's being booked on, because if he's staying up all day and then he gets a night run, then he can't handle it. He's just booked, and he doesn't want to not be able to finish the run on time, and then obviously that would affect his the confidence that dispatch has in him and whatnot. So basically he's trying to find a way to mix work and do some sightseeing and adventure, as he called it. I've touched on this part of it as well. Like, you can do both, but you're not going to do a lot of both at the same time. Like, if you want to be a tourist and be a part of the adventures and whatnot, you're not going to make much money. Now, if that's cool, then that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that if that's the way it works out for you and you're comfortable with that. But if you think that you can come out here and make good money and be a tourist, especially if, and by be a tourist, I'm talking about like, you want to take several days a week to go do things. There is a way to fit it in there to an extent, but as I said, you're just not going to get a lot of both. You're going to have to sacrifice one to get more of the other. You've got to find that balance of which is worth it to you. What are you out here for? To make money or to make memories, I guess. So, that's the first thing you've got to decide. He also touched on saying there's not a lot of money out here to be made, and that's true. Overall, that's true. Unless you get with the right carrier and you're wanting to put in enough miles, I mean, the money's it's just not, you like I said, you're not going to get rich expediting. Not unless you get into getting fleets and, fleet of vans or trucks or straight trucks or whatever it may be. Because basically, everybody's cost per mile is going to be roughly the same. It's going to range anywhere from 25 to 40 cents. Now, with that being said, so if you're with the carrier that you're making 70 cents a mile, that means you're making roughly around 30 cents a mile. The more breakdowns and food you eat or money you spend on miscellaneous BS is the less money you're making. So that's why you should do a good bit of research on what carrier you want to go with. I mean, run the numbers. I mean, you've got to run the numbers. I've talked numbers all the time. I'm just big on knowing the numbers. as opposed to a lot of people look at it like, oh, it's a job. I've got a job. I must be making money since it's a job. Like, I can't be working and not actually making a profit. Well, you can out here. You can most certainly come out here and put in a shitload of time driving, run your ass off, but not manage your money correctly, or have a vehicle that's just high on maintenance and repairs, and your money can just be flying out the window and you ain't got nothing to show for it at the end of the day. So you've just got to know your numbers and know whether you're making money or not and where the money's going and all of that good stuff. But by no stretch are you going to get rich out here. Anybody that thinks that is sadly mistaken. Now, another part of trying to mix making money with being a tourist out here is that, unfortunately, loads just aren't there when you're in the mood to have a load. So, unless you've got some money saved up or you need very little to live on, you're on the loads time, basically, if you're needing to make money. The loads aren't on your time. It's just not going to happen that way, because a lot of times it's luck on when you get loads just happen to pop up, or there happens to be a load in the area that you're in, and a company that does business with your company sees you posted on the map and they call you. That doesn't happen every day. These loads aren't every single day loads, consistently. And again, this is expediting, where a lot of it has to do with bad logistics or breakdowns, emergency parts or pieces or whatnot being needed to be taken places. So it's spur of the moment type stuff. So again, the loads aren't on your time, you're on the loads time, and obviously in order to get more loads, you've got to be in service more often and available to take those loads. Now, wanting to come out here and mix the adventure with the work, now again, it's how, what kind of adventure. There might be, maybe there's something you can do that, it's not going to take you that much time if you get a call for a load to get back to the van and take off. That's easy to do. That, there's plenty of time for that kind of stuff. But if it involves something like you're going to hike a 10-mile trail or go on a boat ride or something like that you can't just immediately, or at least within 15 to 20 minutes, which is a reasonable amount of time from the time you get the call for the load to take off, you just shouldn't be doing it. Unless you call in with dispatch and let them know, like, hey, I'm going to be doing such and such. I'm going to need at least 25 minutes to get back to the vehicle and take off. So if you could, when you bid the load, bid it according to that. And that can be done. So that's one way to help try to work that into your schedule. Now, as far as the whole sleep thing altogether, that's part of what comes into play when you've heard myself and others talk about this being a lifestyle that you have to adjust to. And that's part of it. As I said, the lifestyle is the out of schedule or non-scheduled sleep. No sleep pattern whatsoever. You're just getting it where you can get it. You get in where you fit in with it, basically. And that's what we mean by the lifestyle. It's that, the places you eat, the places you visit, just all of the stuff in between, where you're doing laundry, where you're getting showers, when are you going to go home, all those things. It's just, that's part of the lifestyle. Now, he isn't the first one, nor going to be the last, that talks about sleep. There was another newbie expediter, and he did things all the right way. I've touched on him before. His channel is Life of Chris. He's only got so many expediting videos, but I definitely suggest, if you guys are looking to get into the industry, go check out his last 3 videos. There's a part 1 and part 2 video, and then there's the last video after that. Life of Chris. Check that channel out and check those videos out. He doesn't put out any more content expedited related. I don't know if he's put out any more content on that channel at all. Last time I checked, he hadn't. But it's kind of a reality check because it was the same thing for him. He was having a rough time dealing with the trying to be comfortable, trying to get sleep comfortably and be well rested, when he did get sleep. I mean, this is something that is kind of difficult for people. I mean, even with the driver I have, he's new to expediting. He's got a channel also, Expediting with brother Marc. I'll put the spelling in the description and in the video. But, him and I talking, that's one of the things that, he's kind of getting adjusted to, is that I believe he said he's used to going to bed at a decent hour and then waking up early in the morning. Whereas now you can't get that kind of pattern. That was one of the things when I first came out that was tough to get used to. When I first came out, I was just running myself ragged, for one, because I was under the impression that I needed to be there as quick as possible so that I could get back in service as quick as possible, which would mean I would get a load as quick as possible. Well, once I realized that arriving somewhere at 2 o'clock in the morning or midnight or 11 or 10 at night, and 5 in the morning or whatnot, all those hours, when I realized that those made no difference as opposed to if I would just arrive at 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning and get unloaded, and it's all the same. I'm ready for the day. I've already gotten my sleep. I'm good to go. I can get a little more sleep if I need to while I'm waiting for something to come up. So I learned how to work in my sleep. And since then, honestly, since my first year, I've not had to where I'm consistently running ragged. Like, there's the occasional time where you have a good week and you just want to keep it going. You want to ride it until it's over, and you get kind of ragged, but overall it's not been difficult. My suggestion on how to get your sleep and what works for the most part is that, again, you have to adjust it according to when you've unloaded and whatnot, but a normal day, say I get up in the morning, 6, 7, 8, whatever, I've got until roughly 1 o'clock. If I haven't gotten a load by then, I want to get a nap. So if you want to mix in your adventuring, I mean, that you've got between the time you wake up until roughly 1 o'clock to go do something. And again, you time it and you have it be something that you can get back to the van. So then you go, take your break, get your sleep, try and get your sleep around 1 o'clock, 1 to 3 o'clock, maybe 1 to 4 o'clock, however many hours of nap time you need. And then, bam, from there on out, you're good for the rest of the night if you get a run, which means now you have the rest of the evening to do something else if you want to until you get a load. So as long as you're getting that little sleep in the middle, because as I said, if you don't get nothing by 1 o'clock, if you do get something, it's more than likely going to run all night. So get your nap early afternoon, sleep until late afternoon or early evening, and then you get up, and then you stay up until, 11, 12, 1 o'clock at night, go to bed, wake up again the next morning, do it all over again. That's the pattern I go by. And believe me, there's times that I've regretted when I've not been able to fall asleep in the afternoon. It's bit me in my ass, believe that. I was actually saved last night, because last night I didn't get no sleep yesterday afternoon. Like I said, I normally get that afternoon nap. On the weekends, I tend to miss that nap in the afternoon more often because it's the weekend, not as good of a chance of getting a run. So then come around 9 o'clock, got a message from dispatch wanting to know if I wanted to bid on a load going to Nevada, which is the load I'm currently on. And they wanted it as soon as possible, so he's asking how much time do I think I can get it there, and how much, what kind of rate do I want, what kind of money do I want for deadhead for him to bid it. I went over all the details with him. He bid it, and took about 45 minutes before it was either a yes or a no. So now we're at almost, basically 9:45 or so, and finally get to go on going to pick it up. So now, which this part I didn't know, I had basically an hour and 45 minute deadhead to get to the load. And it's like, son of a bitch. it's like it's already going to be a rough run. It's already going to be tight. I didn't get my afternoon nap. Now I got to run an hour and 45 minutes, almost 2 hours down to get it. And then I get there. Nobody knows about the freight. Nobody has any idea what I'm there for. The broker doesn't have any contact information for anybody at the location. So I'm there for about an hour or so. And me and dispatcher talking like, man, just ready to just give this load back, man. Just, you know, I'm just ready to, I don't care about the miles. I don't care about the miles. Like, now we're getting to where I know I'm going to be miserable on this trip and not sure if I can do it. So it's like, now I just want to go to bed. And they eventually said, you know what, if you can, stay in the area tomorrow morning. Hopefully we'll get this thing going. So that's what we did. Was able to get a good night's sleep about 10 o'clock this morning. They're like, okay, go check in. They should have it. Get there. Took about another 2 hours to get everything situated, and, you know, and finally got the load and took off. But that saved my ass, because it would have been a miserable trip, because I'd have been tired. I didn't have a shitload of time on that, and I was already tired anyhow, and it would have been tough. I mean, I would have done it. I could have done it, but I'd have definitely been, it would have been one of them miserable runs. And I mentioned all that to say, like, you just have to find your comfort zone. You figure out what's going to work for you. And again, that's been the best thing I've found, is that getting that afternoon nap definitely helps to keep you from, you know, feeling all beat to shit when you get a run that runs you all night. Because as I said, if you don't get one by 1 o'clock, that run is going to almost definitely run you straight through all night, or in the middle of the night, or however, you know, long it is. You get something first thing in the morning, you got a good chance that it's not going to deliver until the following morning, depending on the mileage. So as I said, just come to learn to, or I've learned to get my sleep, because that, like I said, that's just what's worked for me. Any of you guys that are out here doing this expediting, how do you guys handle your sleep pattern? Do you try to get a nap? Do you just go with the flow, see what happens? If you would, yeah, just let me know how you guys are handling it. You know, the other thing is that, you know, you can always go out of service. You know, there are carriers out there that can care less how often you run. They just want you to run occasionally. Then there's other carriers that, you know, they want you to constantly run, because that's what they want you there for. They want that you're providing a service, and if you're constantly running, you're providing a good service that's profitable for them. So if the mixture of the carrier with, if you can't get a good mixture of what you came out here to do, because you feel like they just want you to run, yeah, I mean, look into different carriers, talk to other drivers. I mean, again, you have the ability to go out of service. You know, you get a run and you get in a spot that you like where you're at, and you have something you want to go do, take the day off, go out of service for the day. And again, that's going to come down to financially, how can you handle that? Now, the guy that I was watching expediting down by the river, you know, he had talked about the fear of dispatch, you know, not having confidence in him, because he was thinking about taking a nap in trip. I highly recommend, if you're ever that tired, especially to where you feel like you're unsafe and you're having to slap yourself or scream or do something stupid to just stay awake, get to sleep, man. Get to sleep. Who cares if they don't have the confidence in you? If all things were normal and that run was tough on you, on just a normal thing, not to where you've just been being run ragged, but you had a good night's sleep, you just stayed up all day, and that's your normal routine, they need to be concerned about that, and they need to, you or them need to come up to some kind of understanding, like, hey, if I don't get a run by 5 o'clock in the afternoon, hey, I'm out of service. You know, I've known drivers that do that. 5 o'clock, 7 o'clock at night, hey, if I don't have nothing by then, I'm done. Or you make it known that if I don't, you know, if you do get me a run by that's around 5 o'clock, get me something that's only 300 miles, no more than, you know, 400 miles. You've got to communicate with your dispatch, and just, you guys got to work together. So those are some of my suggestions on how to deal with that. You know, you guys don't have to be out here balls to the wall constantly. It doesn't have to be that way. You know, I've heard people complain, they act like they're forced to drive. You're not forced to drive. You're an independent contractor. You don't have to be in service. You can go out of service. Now, again, though, you got to always remember, you're not providing a good enough service for them. You know, they're not going to want to keep your services. Same thing goes in reverse. If their services aren't good enough for you, you can cut ties with them. But in no way are you obligated to be in service every single day, 24/7, and you're just a robot and machine that's just going to drive. Not everybody can do that. And it doesn't matter. Like, there's no, who cares? It's not a dick measuring contest on who can drive the longest and with the least amount of sleep. I mean, who cares? Like, it doesn't matter at all. Alright, I've been rambling, so I'm going to jump off here, and hopefully that helped somewhat, or confuse you a little more. Maybe I confused you a little more, and now you have to come check out some more videos so I can try to get you right and unconfuse you. So, until next time, man, you guys be safe.